Okay guys, it starts now. Taxidermy. I have watched tons of videos, read tons of books, I've bought tons of DVDs, and I feel like I got a decent grasp on what needs to happen and tips and tricks. Follow along with me. If you haven't subscribed already, now is the time to do it because this is gonna be a multi-video playlist. So you wanna hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so that way when I do upload, y'all stay up to date. So what we're gonna be doing on the first video is making a flesher. That's one of the first things that you need to get when starting bird taxidermy is a flesher. And we're gonna go ahead and build one ourselves. So let's get into it. All right, so here are all the pieces that you will need to make this flesher. And the last part's gonna be a piece of plywood, and you'll see the reason for that. Now, all the big electronics that I have and the big pieces that you'll need will be links in the description. So this is the platform that's made. It took 8 screws and it stands this is about 6 inches tall. So I secured down the motor and all I do is just cinch it down. I bought 2 just in case, but one holds this thing on there. I mean, this thing is cinched down on there. So they went ahead and flattened out, and then it's got a nice groove into the board. And then on the back side, I got my power cable. I made sure it wasn't kinked up, so that can go ahead and you can snip this and then go ahead and wire it into a switch where you can just use an extension cable, and that's what I plan on doing with it. So the next part here is we're gonna go ahead and start measuring out this for our guard, and then we'll get the plywood set up for it. All right, so I went ahead and measured out about how high I want this hole to be, and I'm gonna go ahead and start snipping away at that. So I made the hole a little bit higher than the actual stand just because when I have the plywood underneath it, it's gonna raise it up, so it should work out. All right, so I have the hole cut out. Just be careful if you're cutting plastic, obviously, when you're using too much pressure, you'll end up cracking it, but that's no big deal. I'm just gonna throw some duct tape on the back side, and that won't be an issue. But we went ahead and secured down the base. This is almost like a bookshelf type piece of wood. I was gonna use some plywood I had laying around, but I feel like this is probably a little bit easier to clean up if I do end up getting junk on it. The next part, I'm gonna go ahead and secure down my brush, because I know that this brush is just a tad bit smaller than the hole that I cut out on my guard. So let's go ahead and get that secured down. And this right here is probably what y'all have questions about. All right, so for the actual wire brush, I picked this up at Matuska Taxidermy Supply, and you can buy this just as it is. So it comes with the brush and then also the attachment for whatever motor that you plan on attaching it to. The opening on this is a 1/2 inch, and the attachment onto the motor is a 1/4 inch. So what I did is I picked up a coupling, and this is gonna make it go from a 1/4 inch up to a 1/2 inch, so then that way it should work. So like I said, the details to this will be in the description below, and also the details on the motor will be in the description below as well. I'll probably put a picture at the end of the video. So now I went ahead and attached the coupling on here. So now it should be the size of what we need right here, and that a guide right over, and we'll go ahead and cinch it down. And I'll show you the next step. So this brush is not ready to be used. We have to do something very important to the brush. So stay tuned for that. All right, so we got the motor running with the brush, and this is a good time to check it and make sure it's not gonna flop all over the place, that everything's all lined up, so seems to be looking good. Now the next part, what you wanna do is get you a board. And what you need to do is, on these wire wheels, there's like little strands that stick out. So what we need to do is get everything uniform to each other. So you get this thing running, you take a piece of wood, and you run it and you work it on that brush, and what it will do is bend and try to make all those even. Now after I get done with that and the wheel's off, here I'll try to show you some of these. So you can see like that little hair sticking up. That's gonna rip a hole in your hide or your bird if you're when you go to flesh it. So you can see all those little hairs sticking up. So once we run a brush over it, I'll show you the next step of what you need to do to prevent all these little strands from sticking up as well. So right here is the example of what you don't want. So that's what we're trying to fix on the wire wheel. You can see all those grooves that are just chopped into it from working the wood. That's from the little long hairs, and you need to get rid of those, because if you do that on your hide or on your bird skin, it's gonna rip right on through it. So no matter how fast this thing is spinning, just working it on there is gonna do it. So what we're gonna do next is this right here. So we're gonna get a pair of dikes or wire snippers, and we're gonna go through and we're gonna trim all these. So once you get done trimming, move back to the board, do the same thing, and then go back here, trim if you have to, go back to the board and do the same thing. So that way you can see no grooves happening in the wood as bad as that. So you want it to be almost like a smooth, equal type sanding on the wood. All right, so I went ahead and I've been working this board multiple times. You can see the little spots I've been going. So right here, that was the first part, and it's really, I mean, deep grooves in there. And then as I slowly started going down, you can see where everything started to become uniform, and this is the last spot I did. So obviously you can still see groove marks in it just because it is a wire wheel, but they're all uniform with each other. There's no like deep gouges. And then also went through here and I trimmed all the long hairs off of it. So that's a very, very important part about the wheel from all the hours of videos I've been watching on using a flesher, is the wheel just ripping into your hide just because of the simple fact that you haven't conditioned it yet. So being with the 30-45 minutes I worked with the wood and trimming, it should be pretty conditioned now. And it is a soft wheel, so if that's one of your questions, it is pretty soft, the one from Matuska. Stay tuned, I'm gonna finish this thing up for you real quick. All right, there you have it. So we got the shield completely attached, which is essentially a tub. I put 4 screws down in here in the corner, and that way we can get in here and work with the bird. Now, I will say I'll have enough room to do a goose in this one. I made it large enough, and then also I gave myself enough room from the back end, so that way I can really work on the birds. I'm not restricted back here. So, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture of the box of the motor so that way you can see the specs. And also, if you're interested in building one exactly like this, which I feel like it's gonna work, all the links will be in the description below. And then make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. I know most YouTubers say that, but hey, if I'm doing something wrong before I start fleshing out these birds, let me know in the comments below of something that you would change or something I should look out for. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, because the next video I'm gonna be doing when it comes to taxidermy is actually fleshing out a mallard. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And it's gonna be multiple steps, because I do have a bird ready to flesh. I'm not gonna be actually mounting it, but I am gonna do a full-on spread of skinning, fleshing, washing, all that sort of stuff once we get to the actual pintail. So we're gonna work on a mallard first, then a snow goose, then the pintail, and the pintail is gonna be from start to finish, and that's gonna be later on this summer, so you don't wanna miss out on that. Well, as always, y'all stay safe.